What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It is Christian, and I am coming at you guys with yet another Survivor episode recap. We have made it to episode 11, which ironically is the furthest I've made it in any Survivor recap review that I've done on this channel. But that just goes to show you, season 50 will get done. We're in a rhythm now. We're in a flow state. Episode 11, and we have made it here. So let's get right into things. I won't yap on too much. So let's see what we got. We have cast left of Jonathan, Sari, Rizzo, Devin, Tiffany, Joe, Aubrey, Emily, Ozzy. Okay, this is right after the Mr. Beast episode where we had that major beware advantage that ended up with Devin's winning a coin flip that saved him, gave him an idol, and ensured that the prize was increased to $2 million instead of $1 million. So yeah, and Stephanie ended up going home. So this is the aftermath of that Stephanie vote. Rick mentions how someone will now be $1 million richer than before, and he's absolutely correct, and that's because of the coin flip that he did with Mr. Beast. It all came out to fruition, and now somebody's going to be even a million times happier than they were before. Well, two times the million. Aubrey mentioned in her confessional that she's happy with Devin's making the big moves because it takes more eyes off of her, and Aubrey has seemed to have managed a pretty low-key profile in this season. She's lasted pretty long. You know, she's been on a few times already. I think she was in 3 of the seasons in the 30s. That's pretty nuts to think about. Now she's here back again on 50. She's clearly somebody that Survivor likes a lot. Fans like a lot. They bring her back. Doesn't seem to be anybody's #1 target, so she's playing a pretty good stealthy game. Jonathan was unhappy with that last tribal council, where Rick was able to save himself. He would have preferred to keep Stephanie because his actual plan for that night was to get rid of Ozzy. He wanted Ozzy gone. Ozzy was the big move he wanted to make, and he wasn't able to make it because he didn't have the numbers, and Rick Devens ended up being safe and didn't have to play his idol or anything. His fake idol, Devens reads his idol, and he can only use it until there's 7 people left. And right now, if you notice, there are 9 people left. So you got, yep, we got 9 people left, and so clearly he doesn't have too much longer to use it. Joe, we see Joe, who has had a bit of a rivalry with Devens throughout the season. That dates back to their original tribe they were on, where they were at odds with one another. And Joe's not happy that Devens got this idol, okay? He's not happy that Devens was able to stay safe because he thinks that Devens is a schemer. And he doesn't like schemers. Joe likes people to be honest and to tell the truth and play the game his way. It's his way or that, okay? And Joe he doesn't like Devens. He wants him gone, and that's all there really is to it. We get Sari talking as well here. Let's land on that for a second, though. Let's just stay back for a second. Joe not liking Devens. Joe is, he seems to be playing the middle. He's between the Sari and Ozzy and Rizzo side of things, but then he also leans back to Jonathan and seems to want to work with him as well. He's doing a good job of staying friendly with the right people, but one guy that he does not like is Devens. And I don't know if this hyperfixation on Devens will end up tanking his game, causing him to go home before the finals because of that. But here, we're in crunch time right now. We're getting pretty close. But anyway, Sari. She mentions wanting Rizzo and Ozzy to play their advantages because she wants to make sure that they don't have any one-up on her. She does plan on going to the end with the 3 of them together. And when they get to the end together, she doesn't want them to be able to say, hey, I had this extra vote, hey, I had this idol that I could use at any time. So he wants to keep them safe, but make them play their advantages, and that's their plan right now. Ozzy does want to use his idol because he feels like he doesn't use it, he's gonna get backdoored, he's gonna get blindsided yet again, like he has in the past. And he just doesn't want to have that same mistake happen again of going home with an idol in your pocket. And who really does? Like, when you are on Survivor, you get these advantages, you get these chances to save your game, to advance in the game, and you might as well throw everything at the wall. If you have a chance to stay and you feel any inkling that you can go home, play that idol. That's what I would do. He reflects. We get to a heavy emotional scene where Ozzy's talking about why he came back this way and why he's playing differently. Because this whole season, Ozzy's been telling us that he doesn't want to play as Ozzy. He wants to play as Oscar. And we find out that his name is Ozzy. His dad's name was Oscar too. And his father and him had a bit of a tumultuous relationship. It kind of had some ups and downs on it. And even in the first season, the first time he was here, he mentioned that. He mentioned how his father wasn't really there for him. But since then, his father has passed away. And he just reflects back on how he wasn't really fair to assessing his dad, the decisions he made, because his father was in a different country and all this. But when he says that he wants to play like a Husker this time and not Ozzy, it's because of the fact that he wants to be so social, because his father was a really like sociable guy, was very extroverted, outgoing, and that's a part that Ozzy has struggled up to this point within his previous outings. He's more of the physical guy. Competitions can't beat him. He's gonna help out around camp. He's gonna get food for everybody. That's his game. But he hasn't really lived up on the social side. But that's what he wants to do this time. We get a scene of him sitting alongside Devins, which is one of the most tear-jerking moments of the season, where he tells Devins about his dad and how he never really fully appreciated him, and Devin starts to break down too. He's like, that's how I would feel if I was a father. My kids that I have, that's how I feel. And he asks Ozzy if he wants to be a dad and all that, and he tells him how he would make a great dad. And then they both are crying at this point, and Devins ends up crying a little bit more than Ozzy and tells him he's the wrong guy to go to, because he gets even more emotional. But it was a great moment between those two, really humanizing them. Love those moments in Survivor where you get to see the real, the layers pulled back, because we know them as their on-screen characters, but obviously they have their lives that they have bringing into this as well. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. We go from that, and we go immediately into the immunity challenge. They get the mail. They know what it's about. It's the little floating houses where they maintain balance on top of them. We get started. So start on the bottommost part of it, and you got to move up. While you're standing in place, your hands can never touch the platform. And while you transition to the next part of the thing, you can't fall into the water. If you do, you're out immediately. So we get started on this. Saria's out almost immediately. Then Aubrey. Then Devins. And we start moving up to the next rungs of everything. And they get to a point where the last part is everybody has to switch to one leg and then balance from there. And at that one leg part where everybody's supposed to be set and going, they all start free falling. And it looks like Tiffany has won, because she's the last one remaining. We see her with her foot up, and she's standing there solid. Jeff says, Tiffany, you've won individual immunity. I'm happy at this point. I like Tiffany. I'm glad she gets to stay safe. There's also going to be a positive twist that comes with it too. We were told previously. We just don't know exactly what it is yet. And Tiffany, this is her second or third win of an individual immunity. I'm happy to see it. But right when she's about to get the necklace here, whoa, wait. Getting word for production here, and it turns out that Jonathan is actually the winner, because what happened is when everyone was making that live transition to being 1 foot in the air, Jeff did say, all right, everybody is in place now, everybody's on 1 foot. And at that point, Tiffany's 2 feet were still down. So while she did maintain balance while everybody was falling in, she hadn't adhered to um, the call that it was live now and your foot is supposed to be up. So she was disqualified. Jonathan gets the immunity, and then we get to find out what his special advantage is after winning the immunity. We also learn there's a twist here. Twist that I really detest. And it's that we are getting 2 tribal councils tonight. And Jonathan's thing is that not only is he immune, but he gets to vote at both of each. Like 4-person tribes that have been split up. So he's the one extra with 2 tribes of 4 pretty much that are going to tribal council. He gets to go back and forth and talk with them and see what's going on in each one. And I hate this so much because we're already down at 9. I understand they have to get people going fast because this is a large cast and you still have to make it work within the allotted days, but to split into 2 different tribals at this point, that messes people's numbers up so bad, that messes people's game plan up so bad. And I understand that Survivor is about adaptability and the ability to change your direction on the fly, but that's just not cool, man. Like, this is, it seems like a super unfair twist. Like, man, I hope they never bring it back again. That's all I have to say about it. Because the 2 groups that we get is, we get one group where it's Cirie, Devins, Tiffany, and Cirie, Devins, Tiffany, and Emily. And then the other tribe of people is going to be Rizzo, Ozzy, Joe, and Aubrey. And now in that first group I mentioned with Tiffany, Cirie, Emily, and Devins, I don't want any of those 4 to go home. Now I'm cool with, I wanted Jonathan to go home, but he can't. He has immunity. Joe going home is fine. I don't care. Aubrey going home, I don't care. Even Rizzo going home, I don't care. But like the rest of the people, man, I want to see them stay. And this is just a messed up twist that kind of threw everything for a loop. So we get the 2 tribes talking. Jonathan talks about what he wants. He wants Devins to go home. Not a big fan of Devins and all of his trickery and all of his moves. His little spectacles he's made of having an idol, not having an idol, all that stuff. And then the last one, winning the Mr. Beast coin flip. He just wants him gone. Cut his losses. So Emily, Tiffany, and Devins discuss who Jonathan will probably go after. Emily mentions herself. She brings up to Tiffany that she can get Devins to play the idol on her, and then they can, get Devins in the back door. Emily schemes with Devins though on the back end there to fake out like Rick is going to use his idol on her, and then flip the idol on Cirie vote. And that's what Emily really wants to happen. She really wants to try and flip this and get Cirie out because Cirie is a big name. But of course, Cirie also has her extra vote that she could put into play as well. Tiffany talks to Jonathan, getting rid of Ozzy on the other side of things, because she doesn't want Ozzy there. But obviously, that's Cirie's boy, and she doesn't want him gone. But Tiffany's cool with it. On the other side of things, we have Ozzy talking to Aubrey, trying to work with her, and Ozzy spills the beans. He tells everything, I mean everything. Spills the whole life story, tells about his advantage, Rizzo's advantage, how they're all working with Cirie, and blah, 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 and he just spills it all to Aubrey. And we don't know why. I guess he was just so cocky in this moment, or he thought that Aubrey wouldn't go around and tell everybody. He just thought Aubrey was trustworthy. I don't know what it was, what got in his head, but that was a bad move. That was a really bad move, because Aubrey does not trust him. She does not want to work with Ozzy. She wants him gone, and so she goes and spills the beans to everybody else. She's like, hey, he said this about this, and yeah, I'm not working with him. I don't know why he told me that. He just sounds like he thinks he's winning all of it. Jonathan comes over and talks with Aubrey. They're on board for getting Ozzy out. Cirie hopes that Rizzo's going to warn Ozzy about the vote, and sure enough, Joe does bring up the Ozzy vote to Rizzo, but Rizzo is weighing his options. Does he tell Ozzy, or does he want to cut his losses here and maybe not work with Ozzy, because Ozzy clearly has a target on his back. Maybe he wants to just get a clean sweep and wash his hands of it. Good. Tribal Council 1 is tribal with Emily, Tiffany, Sari, Devin, and Jonathan. We don't know exactly what's going to happen here for sure. Possibly Devin playing the idol on Emily, all this different stuff. But what ends up happening is that Devin does play the idol and he plays it on himself. But Sari goes ahead and plays her extra vote. She didn't know that she had yet, or that she was even privy to play it at this point. We get a tie between Emily and Sari. Go back to vote. You can only vote for Emily or Sari, and on the second vote, Emily is voted out. Same day she was eliminated, on her original season. Big fan of Emily. She's one of my favorites, but if it had to come down to her or Sari, I would prefer Emily going home, so I'm okay with it. It's cool. At least Sari still play. At least Sari can still win the season. Sorry, Emily, you're gone. It's top 9, getting down to the nitty-gritty. We were swap screwed again at 9. How does this happen? I don't understand it, and I don't like it. She joins the jury immediately and sits there, while Jonathan stays sat at Tribal Council. And here comes the next group. Here comes Aubrey, Rizzo, Jonathan, and no, Jonathan's already sitting there, Ozzy and Joe. This one seems like there's possibility. Maybe thinking about Aubrey, that's what Ozzy wants, but in the end, Ozzy is voted out pretty much on a clean sweep, and he's distraught. He just doesn't get it, and he did it again with an idol in his pocket. He didn't play it, and he makes the exact same mistake all these years later, when everything was telling him, even himself was telling him during the episode, play your idol, man, trust your gut, and he didn't. And he even mentioned having a dream that he went home, but he said like Coach and Aubrey were sitting there, or Coach and Stephanie, I don't know, but he went home with the idol in his pocket, and he did it again. It's just inexcusable. You can only feel so bad for the guy, and I do feel bad to an extent, but it's like, man, you know what this is, you know this game. How could you be so ignorant to make the same mistake twice? But he did, and Ozzy's gone. At least we didn't lose Ozzy and Sari. Just lost Ozzy. At this point in the game, man, so now we're looking at to remain for the rest of the season. We got Jonathan, we got Sari, we got Rizzo, Devins, Tiffany, Joe, and Aubrey left. And that's your final 7. So make note as well, final 7. Remember I mentioned earlier, that's how long Devins can use his idol. So this next tribal would have been the last one that he could have used it, but he used it already anyway. So I don't even know I mentioned it. But anyway, there might be another idol that's put out to play for the last couple tribals. Out of this cast left, I'd love to see a Tiffany win. Love Sari, obviously. Those are my 2 that I would really like to see win it. And Devins. I like Devins a lot. So if Sari, Devins, or Tiffany win, I'm a happy camper. I prefer Jonathan doesn't win. I prefer Joe doesn't win. Even more so than Jonathan, because I don't feel like Joe does anything. At least Jonathan is a good villain. Like, he's scheming and all that. Rizzo's kind of playing a bit of a floater game. Aubrey, I don't see how she wins, man. What's so impressive about Aubrey? She's just kind of been floating around as well. That's how I see it. I will give my cases and maybe a tier list of these last 7 if I can get it out in time. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of this episode of Survivor Season 50, Episode 11, and what your thoughts are. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and of course, click the subscribe button so you can see more of it every time I come out with more videos. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.